Did I stick to the TBR that we set? So here we are. We have a few options. Oh, my heart. Hello besties, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hello, my name is Laura, and over here we like to stay at home, we like to read, and we like to talk about books. And if you like these things too, then maybe you should stick around. Today's video is one of my absolute favorite to do, and we are doing my reading wrap up for the month of April, and we will also be picking my May TBR using my TBR jar. So as always guys, grab yourself a drink, get comfy, and let's get into today's video. Okay, so in the last TBR video, we set a TBR of 6 books. And I'm very pleased to say that in April, we read 9 books. So I am very pleased with how I got on because I had such an incredibly busy month, which I did vlog, but I was at loads of events. I did loads of really exciting things. As you saw, I went away with Emmy. It was a crazy, crazy busy month. And so I just really didn't think I was going to get any reading done, but I did manage to get a good chunk done. Did I stick to the TBR that we set? I guess we'll find out. Okay, so the first book that I read in April was The Rival Crown by Holly Renee. I was very kindly sent an e-arc, so I did read that on my Kindle, and then I did get a PR box with the physical book in and a few little goodies. I wanted to finish the series because this is a trilogy, and I've obviously read the other 2 books in the trilogy, this being the last one. Overall, I rated this 3 stars. I think I really do appreciate this series for what it is. There is very minimal world building, which I think makes this a great series for people new to the genre, people wanting to dip a toe, or just read something fairly easy and not super intense. I will say the first book in this series was definitely my favorite. I think I rated that 4, if not slightly higher, stars, and the second book in the series, unfortunately, I think ended up being a 2.75 for me. And then this one was definitely better than the second book, and I was pretty happy with how the series was concluded. And then next I picked up A Tribute of Fire by Soraya Wilson. This I rated a solid 4 stars. This was so much better than I thought it was going to be, and the ending, I am so excited for book 2 to come out. I think it comes out any time now, actually. I feel like this started off super strong for me, and it did get a little bit slow in the middle where there was sort of quite a lot of heavy world building, and then towards the end again it very much picked up for me. And there was a portion of this book at the beginning where there was sort of like a hunt race situation to this temple, and I thought that was going to take up a bigger portion of the book than it did, but that was really fun, really exciting. There was a quote in this book that literally gave me goosebumps. As soon as I saw his face, my heart whispered, "Oh, there you are, I've been waiting for you." Yeah, I'm literally getting goosebumps just thinking about it. Oh, and also there is quite a strong sense of found family in this as well. So yeah, this was really good. Really enjoyed this, and I'm very excited to read the next one. And next I read A Fire in the Sky by Sophie Jordan. And honestly, I had no idea what to expect going into this. I had heard mixed things, and I honestly wasn't sure if I was gonna love it or hate it, but I ended up loving this. It really pleasantly surprised me. It's not a super long book, and it was really fast paced, so it felt very bingeable. The dragon element in this was very interesting. It felt very unique to stuff that I've read previously, and so yeah, I was very pleasantly surprised by this. Oh, and I rated it 4 stars. And then I picked up Enchantra by Kaylee Smith, and this was so fun. I really loved Phantasma, and so I just knew I was going to love this. And this was very much Phantasma coded. It gave you similar vibes, but a very different story. So this followed Ophelia's sister from book 1, Genevieve, and let me tell you, the MMC in this, he was definitely a strong rival for Blackwell from book one, and the tension, the yearning, the back and forth between these two, I really enjoyed this. I will say I think I did enjoy Phantasma ever so slightly more, but this was so fun, and it had all the gothic, atmospheric, spooky vibes, but also it was fun. There was trials again, and there was sort of like this labyrinth situation going on, and I rated this a solid 4 stars. Also guys, I did film this in one of my reading vlogs that's coming very soon, so keep an eye out for that. Okay, and then the next book that I read, well, I did the audiobook for this one, was Fearless by Lauren Roberts. This released in April, so I definitely wanted to read the book and complete the series, and I love the audiobooks for the Powerless series. Chase Brown is one of my favorite narrators, and he does the narration for Kai in these books. I rated this a solid 3 stars. I feel like for me, I loved book one. Book one I've read twice. I rated it 5 stars both times. Reckless I was a little bit disappointed with, but then Fearless I felt brought it back a bit. I cried a lot more in this than I thought I was going to, I'm not gonna lie. There was quite a few moments where I was like, oh, my heart. Yeah, it was good. Okay, and then I picked up Wolf by Paisley Hope. I read this because I was going to a Paisley Hope event, and I had this book on my TBR, and so I wanted to read it before I went to the event, but it turns out Paisley Hope wasn't at the event. So I took this with me down to London hoping to get it signed, and she wasn't actually there. I don't know why, I just assumed she was going to be there. I've read the first book in her cowboy romance series, Holding the Reins, and so I wanted to read this to get an idea of what her dark romance vibe was like, because this is a dark romance. And I rated this a solid 3 stars. This was fun. It was nothing sort of crazy serious. It was super spicy. The MC was dark, he was brooding, he was grumpy, he was a little bit mean, and he was so obsessed with her, and I love a possessive, obsessive MMC. It will do it for me every single time. And I do think as well, if you're new to the dark romance genre and you're wanting to dip a toe, this is probably a good one to start with. Okay, and then I read What Did You Do? I did an immersive read on this. I read it on my Kindle and listened to the audiobook at the same time, and the male narrator on this wasn't my favorite, and I can't help but feel like that maybe tainted the MMC for me ever so slightly. But this book I rated 3 stars overall. This is the second book in the Infatuated Fae series, the first book being How Does It Feel, which I absolutely loved. It was giving true enemies to lovers, and I honestly ate it up. This did fall a little bit flat for me. I didn't love it as much as I loved book one, but I am still very much invested in the story, where it's going, and so I will definitely continue the series, but this was a little bit of a letdown compared to how much I loved book one. Also, side note, I'm actually really proud of myself for continuing a series, because lately I have been so bad for reading the first book in a series and then just stopping and picking up something else. So I'm really pleased with myself for actually continuing a series for once. Then I read Feathers So Vicious by Liv Zander. Guys, this was my only 5-star read of the month, and I loved this so much. It is super dark, touches on a lot of really dark themes, so it can be difficult to read in some parts. So please do check your trigger warnings if you're thinking of reading this. But this was so addictive. I was so intrigued by the story. I really enjoyed the dynamic between the characters. I went into this pretty much completely blind, aside from knowing that the MMC can turn into a flock of ravens. Also, I went into this not knowing that it is actually a love triangle or potentially Why Choose. I'm still not sure yet, because it's a duology and I haven't finished it yet. So I'm not sure myself if it's Why Choose or love triangle. I have a feeling it might be Why Choose, but when I was reading this, I was like, oh, it's maybe a love triangle. That's my fault, because I go in blind to everything. The love triangle, if it is a love triangle, has been done so well, because you really like both of the MMCs, or at least I did anyway, and that's how I know a love triangle's been done well. If you like can't 100% choose between both of the potential love interests, and this very much did that for me. And like I said, the dynamic between the 3 of them was so interesting and intriguing, and all of the characters in this book are all quite deeply damaged from traumatic and awful experiences that they've had in their lives, and I feel like the characters have a lot of depth in that sense, and it really sort of pulled quite complex feelings from me. Like, you know, for example, Malia, one of the MMCs, he was very volatile, he was full of rage, he was vengeful, and he was very mean. And the other MMC, Sabian, he was softer, and he had like a really strong urge to protect the FMC, Galantia, which I think spoke to his trauma. Like they both had different traumas, and how they were with the FMC really spoke to their trauma, I think. But anyway, like I said, this is a solid 5-star read for me. I really enjoyed this, but it is very dark, so please check the trigger warnings if you are going to pick this one up. Okay, and then lastly, we read my Fable Book Club's book for April, which was On Wings of Blood by Briar Bolin, and I rated this 3.5 stars. This was a really good start to the series. I think it's really set the story up well. There was quite a lot of world building in this, which I think was probably necessary to allow you to sort of understand the story better going forward, but that did make it quite slow for me in parts because I went into this anticipating it being a 5-star read. I'm not gonna lie, on paper this sounded like everything I could want in a book and more, and I did really love the FMC and the MMC and the dynamic between them. There was so much hate and very much giving true enemies to lovers, and guys, oh, this is such a good slow burn, and I love a slow burn. So it had so many things going for it, it absolutely did, but it just didn't quite give me the feelings I went into it hoping to feel. The last 10-15% of the book definitely brought it back for me again, because it sort of started off strong and ended strong. In the middle was just a little bit slow in places, but I am very much excited to pick up the next book in the series because I've heard the second book is even better, and I feel like that will probably ring true because I feel like maybe book 2 is where the proper story is going to start, and that's really going to grip me and hook me and, you know, make me invested in the entire series. So I have super high hopes for the next one because I definitely do think that this has huge potential as a series. Oh, and I did also film reading this as part of a different reading vlog, which is also coming soon, so again, keep an eye out for that one. Okay, so that is everything we read in April, and now it is time to pick my TBR for May. One of the books that was on my TBR for April that we picked last time, and that was Diabound by Sable Sorensen. I am currently reading this book, and it is also my Fable Book Club's book for the month of May. So I will be adding it to my TBR for this month, and obviously I will talk about it in great detail in my next reading wrap up, but I just need to tell you right now, it's probably going to be 5 stars because it is so good, guys. It is so good, and I'm so glad that it won the poll for my Fable Book Club book this month because I think that everyone's gonna love it. I really hope everyone's gonna love it because I am just getting the best feelings from it. I think again we will go for a TBR of 6 this month, so the first one being Diabound, and then the second book that I can add to the TBR is another one that I am currently reading, and that is the second book in the Court of Ravens duology by Liv Zander, which is Shadows So Cruel. So those two are both books that I'm currently reading and ones that can go on the TBR for this month. So that leaves us with 4 books that we need to pick using my TBR jar. So I guess we will get started on that. I did take off a couple of the books that were on the cart that I read this month, and I have a bunch of books that could go on there. So we'll have a quick look at that together as well. Okay, so we've already got Diabound and Shadow So Cruel on the list this month. So I won't be putting these ones on the TBR cart because I'm already reading them and I'll probably be finishing them very soon. So I have here a few options of books that we can put on the shelf. We'll go through these quickly and do a little mini haul of books that I've got recently. Okay, so I have here Kingdom of Two Moons. This was sent to me by the author, and I'm very intrigued by this one. I'm not gonna lie. It's indie published, and I really love an indie published book. I do. So I'm very tempted to pop this one on the shelf, so this is an option. We also have The Conditions of Will by Jessa Hastings. This was kindly sent to me by the publisher, and I've heard really good things about this. However, I've only read the first 2 books in the Magnolia Park series, so I feel like I need to read the rest of those books before I start this one because I think it's loosely linked to one of the characters in the MP universe, so I maybe won't put this one on the shelf because I only have 3 spaces that I can fill. Okay, next we have Silver Elite, and this is an ARC. This comes out this month, and I really want to read this. I've heard nothing but amazing things about this book. Everyone I know who has read this has rated this 5 stars. This is dystopian, and I've heard it is very much starting the trend of bringing dystopian back. I'm starting to get a little bit of FOMO, I'm not gonna lie, so I think we will definitely put this one on the shelf. I also have Fractured Future by J. Rose. This again was sent to me by the author and her publishing team. I think she is a victim of trafficking, and she's been offered a chance at enacting justice against her traffickers. Okay, so I'm pretty sure this is a why choose with like a super badass strong FMC. So this one does sound very promising, and I'm tempted to put it on the shelf. Even if I don't put these on the TBR shelf, there is a chance that I could still pick them, because if there's nothing on the TBR shelf that sort of fits the prompts very well, I will go and look on my other bookshelves. Okay, we also have Scarred by Emily McIntyre. This is the only book in the Twisted series. Is it a Twisted series? Do not saw the Twisted series. It's the Never After series. And this is the only book in that series that I have not read yet. And I've really enjoyed all the other books in the series. This is not a fantasy. These are dark romance, but they're fractured retellings of like fairy tales. So this one I believe is The Lion King. And I've heard this is the best one. And it's the only one I've not read. Oh, and this was sent to me by Sourcebooks UK. They also sent me a really pretty special edition of Hooked, which is the first book in this series. And then I have have Enigma by Runix, and this was sent to me by Evermore Books, which is the UK publisher, and I am so excited to read this. I love the Darkverse series and I really like her writing. I've seen people rating this pretty high, so I'm very excited to read this one. I will probably go into this blind because that is what I like to do, so I'm not going to read the back of the book. But if you have read this, guys, feel free to let me know if you loved it or not. Okay, and I have here another arc. This is Heir of Storms by Lauren Hamilton Murray. So this is marketed as an epic YA romance in the style of Twin Crowns and early Sarah J Maas and a touch of the Hunger Games. When I was sent an email about this, the person who was emailing me said that it's one of the best books they've read in a long time. So I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, of course. Like, I'd love to read that. And on the front it says, I am the girl who wove the storm that shook the world. I think that is what the UK cover is going to look like when it's published, and this is due to come out in June this year. Okay, and lastly I have here Kingdom of Shadows and Wings, and this is by Nina Frost. Nina kindly sent me a message and asked if she could send me her book, and I was like, absolutely yes, because coincidentally I had literally just added it to my TBR on Goodreads because I'd seen Jamie talking about it and she said it was really good, and I was like, right, okay, I will read it then. So thank you so much, Nina, for sending this out to me. I really appreciate it, and I'm very excited to read this. Now the question is, which ones do I put on the shelf and which ones do I put on my other bookshelf? So I think I definitely want to put Silver Elite on there, and then I think we'll probably put Kingdom of Shadows and Wings on there as well, and then probably Enigma, so that we've got sort of a mixture of genres here. So we've got a dystopian, a fantasy, and a dark romance. I think Enigma will fit nicely in there. Where else have we got space? Ah, okay. Oh, I think I've only got 2 spaces. I thought I had 3. We can make this work. There. Okay, well, I can't put Silver Elite on there because it won't fit. So we will keep Silver Elite out, but we will bear this in mind for prompts because I really want to try read this month. Okay, first prompt, let's go. Okay, we have a book that's pink. I feel like I don't have many books on here that are pink, but we'll see. Okay, we have a few options. So firstly, I have here My Dark Romeo. I believe this is a dark romance. I got it from the Works. I think it was like £5, and I thought the cover was stunning. So that is why I own this book. So there's that one. We also have Wild Love by Elsie Silver. I have been meaning to get around to this series because I really love the Chestnut Springs series. Whether or not I will feel the same about this series, I don't know, but I do like her writing. I enjoyed it in the other series, so I assume I will enjoy this as well. And this is very much fitting the bill for the pink cover because it is entirely pink. And then I have 2 here that maybe don't count, but I have God of War by Rena Kent, which is the last book in the Legacy of God series, the only book in the series I have yet to read. And then I have here Sinner by Sierra Simone. This is the second book in the Priest series. I kind of just pulled this one because there was pink flowers on it, so I feel like this one doesn't really fit the prompt that well, so I'm going to pop this one back. Which leaves us with these 3, and out of these 3 I think I would be most inclined to go for Wild Love just because I feel like I need a push to start this series, and also this cover is entirely pink, so I think best fits the prompt. So yeah, we'll go with Wild Love by Elsie Silver. Okay, next prompt. Book cover the same colour as the top you are wearing. So this top that I'm wearing is actually from Emmy's new collection with N embroideries. It says read it in like a varsity font, and underneath it says absolutely feral because Emmy is an absolutely feral reader. That is her thing. I actually just got sent this as PR, which is so exciting, so I thought I would wear it for this video. So choosing a book with the same colour as my t-shirt should not be hard because a lot of my books, if you have not noticed already, have black covers. I've just thought of one of the books we could pull for this prompt. Yeah? There's a lot of black. I mean, there is other colours, but it's predominantly black. So this one can be pulled for this prompt for sure. Let's have a little look on the shelves and see what else we want to pull. Okay, so I have pulled Enigma by Runix. I feel like this one Doesn't completely fit the brief because there's purple on here and a flower. So I'm not sure this entirely fits the brief because it's almost more grey than black. I don't know. I've also pulled Beg the Night by Emily Blackwood. I got sent this as an ARC recently and I would really like to get to this because I feel like I'm going to really enjoy this, and the cover I think is absolutely stunning. So another solid choice. So out of these three, I think it's going to be between these two, and they're both really pretty. And they're both ARC copies as well. I'm gonna go for Silverly. I feel like I need to get into this. I need to know what the hype's about, and I need to see if I love it as much as everyone else loves it. Let's pick another prompt. Okay, we have a book with a person/people on the cover. Let's take a look. I've pulled quite a few here, so let's go through these quickly. Pulled Forged by Magic by Jenna Wolfhart. This is very much giving cozy fantasy vibes, and that's not usually my typical genre, but that is not to say that I wouldn't enjoy this. On the back here it says, a whimsical feel-good fantasy romance with a helping of spice and only a pinch of danger. Yeah, so this is almost giving like contemporary fantasy romance, but I really think the cover is so gorgeous. I have also pulled A Dark and Hollow Star. I have never heard anyone talk about this book. I have never seen this book anywhere apart from when I saw it on Vinted, and I thought the cover was stunning, and it was £2 and I really wanted to buy it, so I was definitely drawn in by the cover. And yeah, I don't know anything about this, so yeah, very intrigued by this one. I have also pulled A Deal with the Elf King, and this has been pulled previously when Eddie was picking a book for me, and he pulled this one and ended up going for Holding the Reins by Paisley Hope. I think the cover is stunning on this one. Anything with like deals and bargains, typically I end up loving, so I have high hopes for this one. Okay, I also have here Leave Me Behind by K.M. Moranova, and this I think has just been picked up to be traditionally published. So I would like to read this one, and I think as well that the cover is so pretty. I think all the covers that I've picked up actually are stunning. I believe the author does all her own illustrations, so she designed this cover herself, and also on the sort of like chapter pages. Yeah, on the chapter pages as well. How stunning. So yeah, this is definitely a contender for this month. And then lastly we have The Bridge Kingdom. Actually, it might have to be this one, and I have a very valid reason as to why it should be this one. Can I tell you? Yeah, I can tell you. I am going to an event with Danielle this month, so actually this would be absolutely perfect. Yeah, okay. We're gonna go for The Bridge Kingdom by Danielle L. Jensen. I really loved A Fate Inked in Blood, and so I think based on her writing style and how much I enjoyed that, I think I will probably enjoy this one as well. So yeah, perfect. Time to pick our final prompt. Okay, we have a book under 300 pages. Okay, so we are looking for a relatively short book for our fourth and final pick. Let's have a look what we've got. Okay, I've had a quick look and I've flicked through a few of the books on here to see if anything is under 300 pages, and I think this could be the only one on the shelf that is under 300 pages, and this is Broken Flames by M.K. Ahern, and I've had this book for a little while. It was sent to me by the author and their publishing team. It is 282 pages, so I think this one fits the bill, and I really think the cover is gorgeous on this. Let's have a read of the back. In a world divided by elemental abilities, I tend to really enjoy books that have elemental abilities, so love that. Four kingdoms have rarely known peace. Corrine always dreamed of seeing the world and escaping the confines of Morwen, the water kingdom she grew up in. Finally, that wish was coming true, except at a price. She was being forced to marry the prince of their rival kingdom, Avalon, the kingdom of fire. So we have a water elemental and a fire elemental. Interesting. Bellamy always knew one day he would become king. He spent every day trying to prove himself as a prince to a father with impossible expectations. We love an MMC with daddy issues, we do. Never once had he questioned the king's demands until his marriage was announced. Being forced to marry a nobleman's daughter from his rival kingdom had never been part of his plan. With war on the horizon, the pair must first survive the months of traditions leading to their impending marriage. The more they resist and try to fight the inevitable, the harder they find it to deny the feelings buried deep in their hearts. Okay, so we've got arranged marriage, we've got enemies to lovers, rival kingdoms, opposing powers, forced proximity. Yeah, very, very intrigued by this. I'm really glad that I do this and that I have these prompts because it forces me to pick up books that I maybe wouldn't normally pick up. I would honestly recommend doing this, even if you don't do YouTube, just for your personal TBR, because it's fun to sort of be like, oh, what could I pick for this prompt? So I would definitely recommend making yourself a little TBR jar. You don't have to use a bougie candle jar like I have. You can literally use an old jam jar and wash it out, and so many things you could use. Probably something with a lid on would be good, so you can give it a good shake. I did do a full video on making my TBR jar and all the prompts that I put in here if you need some inspiration. Okay guys, so that is our TBR for the month of May. I think there could be a few 5-star reads in here, so I'm anticipating a very good reading month. And I know I've only picked 6 books for this month, but I'm hoping to read a little bit more than that, but just picking 6 sort of gives me a little bit of room to pick up books as and when I feel like it, because I am very much a mood reader. So as much as I like to try and stick to my TBR as best as I can, I also still like to have a little bit of flexibility as well. But yeah, a lot of reads I'm very excited to get to. Also guys, very quickly for my fellow Jellycat friends, yeah, I felt like I needed some more emotional support Jellycats, so here we are. So firstly, I got the Smudge Elephant. This is a medium and he is probably the softest Jellycat that I own now. He is so cuddly and so soft, and guys, you cannot tell me that that is not cute. Look at his little butt. So cute, and I love how floppy he is. You can make him sit like this, or you can have him laid down. I had him just laid up on my mantle up there. Neither of these Jellycats have a name yet, so if you have made it to this far in the video, please drop me some name suggestions down in the comments. But we have this little guy. And then we have this gorgeous Maliki dragon. And the reason why I really wanted this one was obviously one, the colour, because gorgeous, but also all the previous dragons that had been released, the single coloured ones, all have like a scratchy wing material, but now they've started doing all of the dragons with soft wings. So I really wanted to get one with soft wings. And this one is very much giving strawberry matcha. So she could maybe just be called strawberry matcha, but I feel like that's a bit of a cop out. So again, let me know if you have any name suggestions for her. I feel like she's very much in keeping with my decor and my library, and obviously she's a dragon, so it's very much giving fantasy. I think I have probably waffled on for long enough now, so thank you so much for watching guys. I appreciate you being here. I really hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, please consider subscribing to my channel, and I guess I will see you in the next video.